Good morning, my dear grade 7 learners. I hope you are all doing fine because this day is a new day for you to learn, explore, and discover more about science. Today, after our lesson, you'll be able to infer the conditions necessary for heat transfer to occur. But before we proceed to our lesson, let us have first a short activity to find out if you still remember our last topic. We will read the questions carefully and I will give you 5 seconds to figure out the answer. Use the comment section to type in your answer. Are you ready? Let us start. Question number 1. What is the only part of the electromagnetic spectrum that can be seen by naked eyes? Infrared radiation, visible light, gamma rays. Please key in now your answer in the comment section. Alright, let us now reveal the answer. And the answer is visible light. Remember, visible light is found at the center part of the electromagnetic spectrum. It is the region of electromagnetic spectrum that can be seen by our naked eye as white light. And Sir Isaac Newton showed that white light is consists of different colors. Let us proceed to the second question. Which of the following colors of light has the highest frequency? Blue, yellow, red. Key in your answer now. And the correct answer is blue. Remember that in the acronym ROY-GBIV, which stands for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, the frequency increases from left to right. Therefore, the correct answer is blue because it is the second to the last color in the acronym ROY-GBIV. For the third question, frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional to each other. Is the statement true or false? Enter now your answer in our comment section. And the answer is true. As I stated earlier, in ROY-GBIV, frequency increases from left to right, while the wavelength increases from right to left. So, they are inversely proportional to each other. Let us proceed to the fourth question. What is the constant value for the speed of light? A, 3 times 10 raised to 8 meter per second. B, 8 times 10 raised to 3 meter per second. Or letter C, 5 times 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Write the correct letter in our comment section. And let us now reveal the answer. Letter A, 3 times 10 raised to 8 meter per second. The speed of light has a constant value of 3 times 10 raised to 8 meter per second. And for our last question, James Clerk Maxwell found out that light is a and blank wave. That led him to propose the electromagnetic theory of light. So what do you think is the correct answer? A, electromagnetic, B, particle, C, energy. Use the comment section to type in your answer. Let us now reveal the correct answer. Letter A, electromagnetic. According to James Clerk Maxwell, light is an electromagnetic wave that can travel in a vacuum or empty space. Very good, grade 7 students. You are all awesome. With that, I know you are now all ready to pay attention to our new lesson. At this point, we will discuss heat transfer. But first, let us define the word heat. In doing so, I would like you to rub your hands palm to palm like this for a few seconds. Rub your hands palm to palm and touch your face. What did you feel? You feel warm because of the friction of rubbing your hands together. That friction between your hands produces heat. But what is heat? So from that simple activity, we can define heat as a form of energy that is transferred from one object to another as a result of difference in temperature. For example, we have a container that is full of water and we put it on a flame. After some time, we will notice that the water will boil. The object that provides energy in our example is the flame. The energy produced by the flame is transferred to the container. That is why the water began to boil. This process is an example of heat transfer. Heat transfer is a process by which heat from one substance transfers to another substance. Heat can travel through solid, liquids, gases, and vacuum or empty space. And remember, whenever heat travels, it always travels from one substance of higher temperature to another substance of lower temperature. Heat in the environment may be transferred by conduction, convection, or radiation. From experience, you may have accidentally touched the handle of a hot pan and felt the heat travel to your hand. That transfer of heat is conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat between substances that are in direct contact with each other. The key of conduction is direct contact. For example, a pan is in direct contact with a fire. If you will put an egg to the pan, the heat from the pan will be transferred to the egg directly, making all of these as an example of conduction as a mode of heat transfer. Conduction occurs when a substance is heated, particles will gain more energy and vibrate more. These molecules then bump into nearby particles and transfer some of their energy to them. This then continues and passes the energy from the hot end down to the colder end of the substance. Another example of conduction is when you put a metal spoon in your hot coffee and you let it stay there for a few minutes. What have you observed when you touch the metal spoon? Yes, the metal spoon felt hot because there was a direct contact between the hot coffee and the metal spoon. But what if you put a wooden spoon? Do you think heat will be transferred from the hot coffee to the wooden spoon? The answer will be No, because different materials conduct heat differently. Metals are good conductors of heat, that it can be quickly transferred, while the wood, the cloth, and rubber are materials that slows down or block the transfer of heat. These are called insulators. That is the reason why the handles of ladles or some pans are made up of rubber, plastic, or wood. In fluids, such as gases and liquids, a different method of heat transfer occurs, and that is convection. Convection is the transfer of heat by movement of fluid, liquid, or gas. The key for convection is movement of fluid. Water boiling in a container is a good example of convection. Let us have an experiment. You may do this with an adult supervision. First, you need 4 empty identical bottles, 2 different colors of food coloring, playing cards, hot and cold water. Next, add blue food coloring to the 2 empty bottles, and each bottle must be filled to the brim with cold water. Add yellow food coloring to the remaining 2 empty bottles and fill it with hot water. Then, use the playing card to transfer hot water bottle on the top of the cold water bottle. The 2 bottles should be positioned so that they are mouth to mouth with the card separating the 2 liquids. Pull out the card and observe what will happen. Lastly, using a playing card, transfer cold water bottle on the top of the hot water bottle and pull out the card. Observe what will happen. Since liquid and gas molecules are free to move, whenever they acquire heat, they tend to move so rapidly and become lighter. That is why hot air and hot liquid rise. As they rise, they tend to lose energy. The cycle of heated fluid that rises and sinks is called convection current. That is why, in the experiment, the warm water moves up and the cold water moves down. Heat energy can also travel in an empty space without contact between the heat source and the heated object. This method is called radiation. Radiation is the transfer of energy from its origin to the surroundings. It differs from conduction and convection that it does not need physical contact between the 2 objects. Radiation also happens when microwaves, infrared radiation, visible light, or other form of electromagnetic radiation is emitted or absorbed. The most common example of radiation is felt every day, and that is the heat coming from the sunlight. Sun is our main source of energy. Much of the energy you receive from the sun travels by radiation. Another example is when you open your palm down several inches above a lighted candle. You will feel the heat from the flame, but it will not reach the back of your hands because radiation only travels in horizontal direction. Another example is when there is a multiple lightings in a room, you will feel warmer than in a room with just a single bulb of low wattage because more light bulbs radiate heat. And that's it, my dear grade 7 learners. Those are the 3 methods on how heat is transferred from one object to another. As we observe, heat is transferred to the environment daily, and each mode of heat transfer has its own application. So learners, remember that heat is transferred from a body with higher temperature to another body with a lower temperature. Conduction is the mode of heat transfer that occurs when 2 objects are in direct contact. Convection is the vertical heat transfer of a moving liquid or gas. It involves the movement of heated substance itself. The cycle of heated fluid that rises and sinks is called convection current. Radiation is the mode of heat transfer that does not require physical contact between heated object and the heat source. Conductors are materials through which heat can be transferred. Insulators are materials that do not allow heat to pass through. Examples are the wood, cloth, rubber, and plastic. Now, let us check your understanding of the lesson through the simple activity. Identify what mode of heat transfer takes place in each situation presented. Use a like emoticon for conduction, heart emoticon for convection, and hair emoticon for radiation. You will have 5 seconds to type your answer in the comment section. Are you ready? Let us start. For number 1, ironing clothes. Your 5 seconds starts now. And the answer is like emoticon for conduction. Ironing clothes shows conduction as a mode of heat transfer because of the direct contact between the iron and clothes. Number 2, bonfire with your friends. You may now type your answer. And the answer is hair emoticon for radiation. It is the type of heat one feels when sitting in front of a fireplace or around a campfire because the heat radiates from the flame. Third situation, drying of hair using hair blower. What mode of heat transfer does it shows? You may now type your answer. And the answer is heart emoticon for convection. The fan in the blow dryer causes airflow, letting the warm air reach the wet hair. You are doing great, grade 7 learners. Keep it up. How about hot air inflating a hot air balloon? What mode of heat transfer takes place? Please type your answer in the comment section. You got it right. Heart emoticon for convection. The heater inside the balloon heats up the air, and so the air moves upward. And for the last number, reheating in a microwave oven. Type your answer in our comment section. Excellent! The correct answer is care emoticon for radiation. Since radiation also happens when microwaves are emitted or absorbed. Great work, grade 7 learners! Now, it is time for our question and answer. Are temperature and heat the same? Temperature and heat are different from each other. Temperature is the measure of how hot or cold an object is, while heat is a form of energy. Heat measures how energy moves or flows. Do radiation from our cellular phone dangerous? There are radiations that are difficult to feel compared to the sun because of the differences in the temperature between the source and the object. And one good example is the radiation from our cellular phone. According to the U.S. Food and Drugs Administration, cell phones emit low levels of non-ionizing radiation when in use. The type of radiation emitted by cell phones is referred to as radio frequency energy. The available scientific data on exposure to radio frequency energy shows no categorical proof of any adverse biological effects other than tissue heating. However, precautionary approach to cell phone use is being advised. Remember, too much of anything is bad. Last question, how essential is the sun to Earth? As I stated earlier, sun is our main source of energy. All living things depend on the sun. Plants need sunlight to grow. Animals, including humans, need plants for food and the oxygen they produce. Without heat from the sun, Earth would freeze. That is how essential sun to us. There you have it, grade 7 learners. I hope you learned a lot and had fun with today's lesson. Thank you for listening and participating in our class today. Always keep safe and stay at home. God bless everyone.